Yeah, very good. How's everything over in India today?
Yeah, everything is good, going good. How is
Uh,
in your country?
yeah, thank you. Pretty good, pretty good. We're still in lockdown at the moment in Sydney, in Australia, and hopefully we'll be coming out of it probably in the next month or so. But yeah, it's been a bit of a tough time. But look, I understand it's been a really tough year in India this year, especially in Delhi. So look, my thoughts go out to you and family and friends there, and hope things get better.
Awesome. So I hope everything becomes good like before in Australia, especially in your place.
Yeah, thank you. Same to you. So yeah, thanks for the opportunity today. What would you like to talk about first?
Firstly, thank you very much for giving me opportunity to talk with you at the same time, accepting my invitation to be on my show.
Oh, likewise, mate.
So I thought to introduce you to my audience and tell the work that you're doing to my audience.
Okay, sure.
So
So
can
do
you
you want me to
please,
start or you start?
yeah, can you please introduce yourself?
Sure, thank you. Look, my name's Rob Lockett. I'm a English teacher at Patrician Brothers College in Blacktown in Sydney. As well as that, I'm a published author. I wouldn't say I'm a bestseller yet. It's still very early in the days, but I often spend time between schoolwork, marking, writing stories, but also I'm a very proud husband and father. Have a 2-year-old named Harper. My wife's named Siobhan, and we also have another one on the way. So I can show you just a little photo there. I don't know if you can see that. So, and we've got a baby boy that's due in November. So, yeah, that's a little bit of me in a nutshell. And I think the main reason we're here today to talk to you guys is maybe to answer some questions about Australian culture, and also to give you guys a chance to talk about my published novel Resurrection, and to talk about a little bit about a work in progress I have at the moment called The Guardians of Celeste. Both of those you can preview on Wattpad, but also Resurrection's available on Amazon in all formats, in either ebook or paperback. And it's also available on Google Books and Kobo. And I'm hoping to get it available on Apple iBooks soon. Um, that's me so far. Back to you, I guess. Si.
So tell me about your novel and your books. What made you to
Okay,
write
good.
that, and what is your inspiration? What is
Very
your
good. Thank you.
motivation?
And my inspiration and motivation. Well, I guess family's the biggest inspiration, but motivation and inspiration come from a few things. So I've had a few sort of life events. My first novel, Resurrection, I started while I was living in England, and it was a tough time in my life. I had a loved one pass away, and had a few things that I didn't know how to deal with it emotionally that was healthy at the time. And I was working at a pub near Reading in England, and it was just luckily I had some supportive friends over there that really helped me as well. But I decided to write some of my thoughts down, and so that it becomes. And I had this horrible dream, and it became the first opening chapter of Resurrection, and so it was really the process, the cathartic process for me to start the novel. And um, so basically, the novel is about a young man, a bartender that's come over from Australia, living in England, and is really struggling. And there's events in his life that lead to this horrible downward spiral. And one of my motivations for it, as well as my real life events, is books like The Tragedy of Dr. Faustus by Christopher Marlowe. So I'm not sure if you've read it, Si, but if you haven't, it's about a guy who makes a deal with a demon or a deal with the devil. And basically, this poor guy named Adam is gone through these downward spirals till eventually he makes what he thinks is a dream, but it turns out to be another part of reality, and he takes on this deal that's far too good to be true. And in the end, he plays host to one of the most horrible antagonists in history, and basically he becomes possessed, and it leads, I don't want to spoil all of it for you, but it leads to a series of tragic events, and it basically leads to civil war in the US. So I'm hoping that, one, people read it and pick it up, but hopefully that they can get something out of it. So that's the first part. Some of the major themes that I try to get across in Resurrection are the idea that no matter how bad a day you're having, I think there are people that are having worse days, and really it's a time to take stock of your life and try not to give in to our darker natures, I guess. The other thing, last time I spoke about this novel was on a different interview, and a few people said that they felt that it was kind of a metaphor for depression and anxiety, and I didn't originally intend to write like that. It wasn't my initial theme, but a lot of people seem to feel like it's the whole idea of being possessed by something is almost like a metaphor for our own darkest depression and anxiety, and it feels like there's this dark passenger in our head sometimes that wants to take us over and tell us terrible things. So in a way, I'm hoping it's as cathartic for people reading it as it was for me writing it. So I finally finished it early last year, and I published it March last year, and it sold a few copies, but I'm just happy just to get it out there, I guess. And I'm just grateful for every opportunity that people have given me. There's been a few friends have already ordered it. So I guess that's probably the main motivator and inspiration for Resurrection.
So you said you are an English teacher. So what made you to become an English teacher, and who inspired you to become an English teacher, and what is your experience?
Oh, thanks. So both my parents were teachers. Mum was a primary teacher, and my dad was a PE teacher. And believe it or not, they both said, don't go into teaching because it can be really rough. They said, look, it's not the students. The students are wonderful. And sometimes it's sometimes the staff, and sometimes it's the politics of the job. So to be true, to be honest with you, I actually avoided it like the plague, teaching. I did other jobs. I was a journalist. I used to work on a Disney cruise ship in America. I've been a bartender, and I've worked in childcare. And I found that, I don't know if it's true with your beliefs and if it aligns with what you do, but I found that the more that I went with what people were telling me, like it was almost like destiny. They were sort of saying, you should be a teacher. And my mum actually, in probably the last 5 years before I became a teacher, said, look, you'd be really good at it. And it would be, you should always have a backup career anyway. And I think this one would be great for you. And eventually I just started listening. It was like I was listening to the universe. And then it felt like instead of swimming against the current, I felt like I was swimming with it. And then I think all this decisions since I started to teach have led to a better life. So, and look, teaching can be very challenging, but ultimately I love the students. I also love the staff that I work with along the way. And what I really enjoy about teaching English is that it's all about sharing your love. Like I love a great book, love a great film. And recently I've loved some fantastic poetry, and it's being able to share that with students and trying to get across why they're so meaningful, why are they meaningful to us, why are they meaningful to students. So in a way, I just find that teaching is all about trying to share my passion and my loves and in literature. As well as that, I really, really like when you've invested so much time in a student and they start to go really well. Like our end of high school exams, the HSC, I've seen students go from strength to strength, and the ones that I really admire aren't the ones that are naturally talented. It's the ones that put the work in. And there's no greater rush as a teacher, I don't think, than to see your students succeed. So that's pretty much why I got into teaching, why I'm still teaching.
So you're a teacher of this communicating medium. So how deep you went in English as an English teacher in order to understand the connectivity, how it connects, how this language, this medium connects the human beings.
So you'll have to rephrase that for me. So how does the English language connect with what exactly?
I mean, how deep you went in English as an English teacher.
How deep?
Yeah, how deep you went.
Oh, okay. Well, that's a very interesting question because you can go into such levels. Like my students, we're looking at 1984 next term, and so you can look at the politics of the time. So you can look at the politics of when George Orwell was writing it. So he was heavily influenced by, say, the influences of both world wars, and he published it just before the end of World War II. So there's a number of different things you can go through. You can go through the political side of novels. I like to go into a lot of deep discussion. Recently, we just looked at the poetry of William Butler Yeats, and with that, we go into a spiritual and religious side of poetry. There's one of them that's Sailing to Byzantium, which is all about an older man who feels like he no longer connects with the youth and the young people of Ireland. And so he wants to go to this culture, like almost like a mecca of poetry, which is, for him, that's Byzantium. And so you can go into a lot of philosophical discussion with English literature. Same as when we're doing Margaret Atwood and The Handmaid's Tale. You can look at the idea of gender and gender roles and how sexuality can be manipulated, or how it can be devoid of all passion and romance and just used as a government tool. There's almost no limit to the depth of how you can go in literature, Si. I guess I could plug my book even more. Resurrection, I'm hoping people feel like there's a level of depth and complexity in the characters with it too. So, it has its standard plot, but one thing you'll find is that it changes genre all the time. So at some point it's a paranormal book, sometimes it's a thriller, sometimes it's action, sometimes it's just the human discovery and just a deep drama. So what I'm finding and what I hope to get across to some of your audience is that with literature, it's not only a school-based subject. It can border on so many things: politics, romance, political tension, anthropology, the study of what it remains to be human, I guess.
So how your how your teaching job helped you in becoming a writer? Because the communicating using vocal cord is completely different from communicating with the words that you have in your collection without showing your face or showing your facial expressions, trying to connect with the story or the novel or the imagination that you have. How good you are in creating impact without your physical presence.
Very interesting question, Si, and I hope that I do it successfully. So you're basically talking about the craft of the writing itself, and how to get your narrative voice across. One thing authors don't really talk a lot about is the craft itself. Often we talk about the plot and what drives the plot and the characters, but the craft of writing itself is interesting. I think with teaching, I've learned to polish my work, how to try and master it, I guess. That being said, I still make mistakes, but how to get voice across in text. When I writing, some people don't actually get, writing is almost like acting, because when you're writing a character, you have to become that character. It's it's great when you're a hero, but when you're playing a villain, you can go into some deep, dark territory. So you have to think how that villain is going to react. Like, what are their motivations? And same for the hero. If you want a dynamic hero and a dynamic character, then they must have solid motivations, and you need to know the craft of how to build character. So what drives them to succeed? What are their challenges? Not just their external challenges, but internally, what are they going through? That's one aspect of it. I think another part of it all is, so you've got this voice, you've got your narrative voice, and you've got your perspective. How to get it across on a page is, well, one, I type it out and I draft. But what I also do, Si, is so I did this course where they looked at alpha and beta brainwaves, and when you're working through your alpha brainwaves, your mind is fully conscious and it's thinking all the time, oh, should I use a full stop there? Should I use a comma there? What's my main theme here? And when you look at the beta brainwaves, your subconscious, it's sort of your brain relaxing, and it's the more creative process. And when I teach students, we do these writing challenges where we practice aligning both the brainwaves so that the creative stuff comes through naturally rather than having to force to think about, oh, should I use a simile here? It takes a bit of practice, but what I normally do is I just start writing and I get into that zone. It usually takes about 5 minutes. And the interesting part about it, though, is that I have to read it back and go, hang on, what did I just write? It can be really amazing. There's a chapter in Resurrection called The Gatherer where this demonic character has to go on an acid trip. And I couldn't write that fully consciously, anxiously second guessing myself. I just had to it's like the writing zone. So yeah, it's basically, I do try and teach the students how to get into that zone, especially with creative writing. As well as that, it's all the usual polishing that you learn as a teacher. So first, what's the importance of using, say, third person perspective versus first person? Have I got a decent plot? Have I met the narrative structure? The work in progress I'm doing is a fantasy novel. So have I followed the hero's journey, or am I looking to subvert the hero's journey? So I guess it's not easily transferable, those skills as an English teacher into a writer, but I think with practice and with drafting and with getting into that perfect kind of brainwave activity, the alpha and beta brainwaves, that's where I start to really get into the zone. Does that answer your question? Thank you.
Yeah, I got you.
Sorry, my wife's just giving me coffee, so all good. Did you have a coffee there?
No, not yet. I have to. After seeing you, I have to now.
Okay. Hopefully I haven't tired you out, mate.
So, tell me more about the published book of yours.
Okay, so Resurrection. Resurrection, it's not just a supernatural thriller. I don't believe in just one genre, Si. I prefer multiple genres. So basically it starts off, I did talk about this briefly, but it's a young bartender who life goes down a series of spirals. He makes a Faustian pact, a tragic deal that leads to him being possessed. And when he's possessed, this character takes over, this dark passenger basically. And what they have is an interplay between them at first in his subconscious. But then very quickly on, it takes fully over. It becomes him, and this poor person's trapped. Now, what he decides to start initiating some gangsters from England, and he starts building them up almost like Fight Club to a level, and he starts actually a war with a British Indian gang called an offshoot of the Tootie Nungs. I know that they were a gang a long time ago in India, but so that starts, and then he gets bored, and so he decides to go and start civil war in America, and he infiltrates this religious cult. When I was researching for it, I studied a lot of what happened to the Branch Davidian cult with David Koresh. Are you aware of David Koresh and the incident in Waco, Texas at all? Yeah, okay. So it almost mirrors that in a way. So the way he leads to power, the way he evolves, is very similar to David Koresh's rise up with the Branch Davidian cult. Now, the other thing is you also asked about motivation and inspiration. My wife is one of my greatest motivators and in ones that inspires. She's just pulling her tongue out at the moment. She's just in the background. But I needed a hero. I had all these villains in this novel, and I thought, oh, maybe I should have a secret agent, that's embedded within this cult, like in Deep Undercover. And then she said, well, why can't it be a woman? So I thought, yeah, of course, good point. I don't know how to write a female character, but challenge accepted. And so what we've got is a character not identical to my wife, but has some similar qualities. Sorry, she's just shaking her head in the background here, Si. But basically, a good all-round protagonist. And again, like our villains, not perfect, has flaws, but is able to overcome those flaws to take on one of the most evil villains of all time. And to do that, you need characters of enormous strength. So we're talking about, your Luke Skywalker's there. We're talking about your Atticus Finch. We've got, some of your greatest heroes in history. And look, I'm probably exaggerating my book here, but I like to think she would weigh up against the best of them. So basically, she's got to try and take down this bad guy. And so at times it's also got the classic good versus evil theme in the book too. So like I said, it's called Resurrection, and as I said, it's available on Amazon. I think it's even available in Amazon India, across all the formats, the US, Australia. It's also available on Kobo, and also on Google Books as well. And like I said, I should really put it onto iTunes as well. And that's Resurrection. I've got another work in progress at the moment called The Guardians of Celeste. Would you like to know a bit more about that one? Yep. Okay. Well, you're nodding, and you're smiling, so I haven't bored you yet. That's great. So The Guardians of Celeste, the original idea came when I was at uni and I was studying all these English literature things, and I know that this idea probably matches a little bit with elements of Hinduism. So the idea that I came across was not only that, what if we resurrected? What if a person could resurrect and become someone else? But reincarnate. Basically, if someone could reincarnate, but what if they become another advanced level of being, kind of like an elf in the Lord of the Rings? And I thought, what if there was some magic orb or something that could reverse all that? So instead of good people either going to heaven, nirvana, to this other world as a reward, what if evil people got rewarded? And say the good person, the villain, could reverse it, so all these good people could become like dung beetles or single-celled amoeba. So that was the idea. And I thought, well, it really suits a Lord of the Rings style fantasy. So you'll probably even see influences of Tolkien's work, and there's probably a little bit of Harry Potter, and The Name of the Wind's another great fantasy series that I've really enjoyed. So it's basically, the plot of it is there's these people called Guardians, and it's a faraway place called Celeste, and at the center is the Guardians, their sanctuary, and there's this populace called Mess Celeste, and the villain in it is an exile who they exile out, and he comes back. So it starts off with this utopia, this sort of beautiful sanctuary where all these people know their place in life. They're looking forward to the next level of life, and everything is civilized. And then all of a sudden, within a chapter, that utopia is gone, decimated, and we see a great battle ensue, and these poor Guardians are mostly killed off, similar to the Jedi purges in Star Wars. So they go into exile and into hiding, and one of their great leaders is actually killed off, but in their world, he is reincarnated as this beautiful little girl who's this special kind of guardian who has all these magical powers, but she needs training. So there's this married couple in it that decide to adopt her, and they train her in the ways, and it's going to be part of a 3-part series. So the first one I'm working on is called The Guardians of Celeste, and I think the whole series will be called The Way of the Guardians. So there's a lot of, it's not like Lord of the Rings, there's not 20 chapters of people climbing mountains, it's action-packed. So there's a great battle, and then there's a siege, and then there's this chase sequences, and then at the moment I'm writing training montages that hopefully will rival something like Rocky or Luke Skywalker's training in Star Wars. So that's where I'm at with it. I'm hoping to get it done. Well, I was hoping to get it done before our next baby arrives, but I'm thinking hopefully by the end of the year, start of next year, I should have the first novel finished. And look, when I publish it, it should be available on Amazon and most formats. At the moment, if you want to preview it, you can read it on Wattpad. I've got the first 15 chapters up. So that's the next work in progress I've got. The other series that I'm working on is inspired by my daughter Harper. So we named her very much after Harper Lee, who wrote To Kill a Mockingbird. But we've got a series of child detective novels in the style of Nancy Drew and Sherlock Holmes. So they've been some books I'm working on, but I need an illustrator. So that's the only reason I haven't published those properly. So, but yeah, they're about a child detective, and they teach themes like coping with loss, and how to stand up against bullies, and also protecting your honor, defending your honor, and all these sort of things. I think our children would love to grow up, and these are the things that I like to teach my students. So they're sort of the works in progress I'm working on. What about yourself? Is there any project or anything you'd like to talk about? Obviously, this podcast is your latest baby.
Yeah. So I have another question for you. You worked in different positions. You worked in different jobs. You did different jobs. So as a human being, what you learned from all these jobs, how it helped you in developing your personality and becoming and being a human being, and how your
How to be a
contribution,
complex human, I guess.
how your contribution affected uh, human beings, other human beings, as an English teacher, as a writer, as a communicator.
Oh, great. Okay. Yeah, thank you. That is a deep question, Si. So I'll try and answer it as best as I can. So, look, I think teaching would arguably be the one that, and I'm sure my wife would agree, where you have the most, I think, profound impact on not only the students around you and the staff, but I think it impacts on yourself too. I think I like to think that I'm a good parent, and I think a large part of that owes to what I've been doing as a teacher, because I think as a teacher you're taught to be patient, and you're taught to be resilient. You're taught to be kind of a counselor at times. Sometimes your students need a counselor. At times you're a coach. You're the ones providing them direction. As well as that, you're teaching them the craft of writing and the ability to read and all that. So at times you're almost like a parent as well. So teaching for me intrinsically and extrinsically has probably had the biggest impact as far as jobs are concerned. Other ones that have been the way, journalism was obviously another one that had a reasonable impact on people around me. So I was reporting on financial news, and one of the stories I covered was that Enron case, and some of the cases of fraud in Wall Street in New York. And I like to think I was part of that discussion in how sort of our elite can be corrupt and how they can often topple they can have these Ponzi schemes that really hurt people, and they have a right to be exposed, I believe, or they need to be exposed to, and to justice, I guess. Along the way, like I think I've mentioned other jobs. Working on a Disney cruise line was fun. I got to know a little bit about the US, and I was able to meet some wonderful people from all walks of life, all parts of the world too. I think you'd love it. It's got a very international vibe. So I was going from Florida to the Bahamas twice a week, doing that, and I was a youth activities counsellor, which is basically like working in childcare. Met some fantastic kids as well, and worked with some amazing people across the world who I'm still friends with, and a number of them I'd love to visit when this lockdown's over and really journey out. So I think working for Disney sort of taught me to be more of a global citizen, as well as working in some of the pubs in England. Being a bartender is an interesting one because the impact you make there is you feel like you're on an episode of Cheers sometimes. So you're serving all these very colourful characters in life. And a person asked me, how can you be, at one stage I was working in childcare and in hospitality in the bar. And I said, it's the same sort of people. It's the same clients. I said, when people get drunk, they act like kids. And if you cut them off alcohol, they throw a tantrum just like a toddler would. So that job, I think, taught me patience more than teaching did, and to be flexible and how to, negotiate. What I'm hoping, Si, is I do love teaching, I do love writing, and I'm hoping that I continue to to work at even being a better teacher, but also being a better person. There's still a lot more I can do. I feel like we all feel like we spend so much time on our own individual endeavors that we don't often share a lot with the people around us. And I know with family, I think lockdown has taught, I'm sure, all of our family the importance of that and to have quality time with our loved ones. But as the world opens up again, I'd like to be able to do more at a local and a global community level. I hope that's answered your question well. Different jobs obviously tell us different parts of ourselves, and yeah, I'm just hoping that I continue to do the right thing by people. So I better have some coffee. You keep talking.
Yeah. So how your contribution changed things in different places to different people? How you created change? How conscious? How good you are a person as a human being? How conscious you are? How you are using your senses? Are you good at uh, using yourself physically, mentally, in a organized way?
Look, I guess so. You definitely got me on the ropes with these questions, Si. They're not easy ones. I think I've also been, like yourself, I've sort of been trying to experiment a bit with online stuff. I think the podcast is a wonderful idea that you're doing there. It's something that I might have to pick your brain about later. I'd love to do some podcasting myself, but I've been trying to blog a little bit as well. So you guys can look at there. I've got Lockdawg. It's LOCKDAWG .wordpress.com if you want to see some of my blogs. And what I'm hoping there, and I think to answer your question more, is what am I doing more to help others, I guess, is as well as a teacher and a writer, I'm also a type 1 diabetic. And I know diabetes is something that affects everyone across the world. And in some of my blogs and some of my recipes, I'm hoping that something will help people, whether it's through some of the recipes, through diet, or to help people who are going through some tough times, anxiety and depression, especially having diabetes. As well as that, I'm a big promoter of well-being, and I have myself suffered depression and anxiety, and it's something that you can't ignore and you can't turn your back on. It's almost like like the ocean. It can be there if you let it. And I always say to people that are suffering, look, it's hard work, but you can be happy. And look, it's hard work staying happy, but if you keep at it, you can continue to be rewarded. And I'm just lucky that I'm reminded of that on a daily basis. I think the people that are living alone right now would probably be struggling. And so I hope, and I want to continue doing things like this, maybe doing some more blogs about how to get out of hitting rock bottom and how to cope with depression. And I'm hoping that some of that's reflected in my writing as well. So what I'm hoping to do more of is more blogs where I can reach out to people. I know there was one, and it's a completely fictional scene. It's a scene from Castaway with Tom Hanks, and the guy's been stranded on an island for 4 years, and he comes back to find that the love of his life is remarried, and he's devastated again. But he talks about, and there's this great scene in the film that I blog about as well, and it's all about waiting for your sail to come in. So he talks about this sail. He's suicidal, and he doesn't think he's ever going to get off this island, and all logic would seem that he's stuck. And then this sail comes in. It's actually part of a Portaloo toilet, but he makes it into a sail and uses his raft and gets out of there. And for me, that's, I think, been such an important metaphor in life. And I always tell that to people who are suffering through depression, is that keep working at it. And if you do the work to be happy and content, eventually your sail will come in. You'll start to feel happy again, and just keep on at it. And tomorrow, who knows what could happen? If you're single, you might meet the love of your life. If you're struggling, if you're unemployed, you might get a job offer tomorrow, or you might have an interview. Like, the opportunities are there, and just keep at it. And look, I still feel like there's so much more I can do. But I think that's hopefully what I'm trying to get out there in the world. And it sounds like you are too, Si.
So what is the good quality that you have, and at the same time, what is the thing that is driving you, which is making you wake up in the morning and do things that you love?
So what's motivating me,
Yeah.
basically, to do things I love? I think I've just always enjoyed writing, and have this love for that. So that motivates me to keep writing. I have a very inquisitive and precocious 2-year-old, and a very supportive wife that each day is just a totally new opportunity and a new experience in the adventure of parenting. So, she's one thing people never told me about being a parent is that it can be really funny. I never thought that I'd have such a funny daughter, and so I look forward to just seeing her progress as a human. So, she's putting complex sentences together, which as an English teacher makes me really proud. But at the same time, she's learning constantly, and she's so eager to learn. So that motivates me to try and go out there and just try and be a really good dad. And to see how my wife's going with pregnancy, it inspires me to try and be a supportive husband and motivates me to do what I can. As well as that, I think it's just trying to enjoy life as best as I can. We're in lockdown in Australia, but I know that looking at some of the rest of the world, it could be a lot worse. So it's sort of just appreciating what we have. And I trying to go into that mentality of not, I deserve this or I need this. It's more, hopefully, that I'm appreciative of these things, and I really appreciate this in my life. And I know I don't always do it. I know a lot of people don't do it, but it's something that continues to motivate me to keep doing it. That's a wonderful question. I've never had a question like that.
And what you learned as a teacher, being in that position, what you learned from students and teaching them, communicating with them, trying to convey the topics that you have, and how that worked for you? How uh, they take what you learned from uh, being in that position for all this time?
Oh, great. That's a very interesting question, because you're right. Students teach us as well, very much so. And I know that you've probably dealt with that too at the university level. Students teach me not only patience, but they also sort of teach me there are many different ways to learn. And Gardner calls it the multiple intelligences, and it's true. And I like to think that I don't try one style of learning, and what can work one day might be disastrous another lesson, and vice versa. So I think as a teacher, always try and vary how you teach the content across. So it's not the good old fashioned days of just a blackboard with chalk. A lot of it is using visual mediums for one, so using film, television, but also it's having students. I find students work really well in collaborative learning groups. And if you can put tactile stuff in there, it's not easy as an English teacher, but you can. And it's that, again, that modeling the work and then encouraging them to be independent. And I think that students are teaching me that every year, that I need to vary what I do, and also that there are different ways of learning, and not everyone starts at the same level either. I know in Australia the schooling system here is very uneven, and there's a huge diversity in almost social stratification, you could say, and I've taught in very different schools, ones with rich students and rich parents, and I've worked ones really poor people and students that have been homeless at a time. And you've got to keep that in mind. Context changes with every student and with every school. So again, I hope that students are teaching me all about that, and that there's a lot going on in a student's head, and there's often a lot going on at home that teachers aren't aware of, other students aren't, and the general public aren't aware of. So as well as being patient and flexible, you've got to try and be kind, I think, too. It's not easy being a student today.
So tell me the greatest quality of yours.
Greatest quality. Well, it's not modesty, I can tell you that. Look, I like to think that I'm a storyteller. I enjoy telling a good narrative. I have a good sense of humour, and I think that's really important. As well as that, I like to think I'm a kind and compassionate person. I think they're sort of the main ones about me. What about yourself?
About myself.
Yeah, tell me. My voice is starting to go. You need to talk for me.
So I'll tell about myself after completing my questions.
All right. Okay. All right. Next
Yeah.
question then.
So you are in different positions. You are a family man. You're a English teacher. Now you become a writer. Now you're communicating with the world in using different mediums. So, and also you are collecting the information, the different informations from different people, and being in different positions with your senses. So how much information have you collected with the senses that you have?
The senses. What do you mean? Like my listening or
All your 5 senses.
Oh, right. Okay. About the world around me. Look, I think what is it? There's the ultimate wisdom side, knowing that you know nothing. Like I feel like the world is full of people that are just. There's that arrogance, and there's often ignorance, which we see on a daily basis across the world. And I like to think that I'm intelligent enough to know that I'm still limited, and I can be stupid. So, but in saying that, I think that I've started to develop a love of everything from classic texts to contemporary ones. I I try and be a citizen of the world, but there's still some places that I have no idea about. So, but I can tell you, I do know a lot about the English language and literature, film. Anyone that knows me would say I'm quite a film buff, although I've only seen a couple of Bollywood films. So think it's somewhere that I need to explore more. Otherwise, history is another passion of mine. A strong advocate of Scottish history. That's where a lot of my ancestors came from. And through my wife, I've learned a lot about American history. She's taught a lot through her teaching. And also, I like to look at ancient history as well. So even in my current work in progress, there's a lot that leads back to Caesar's and Alexander's military tactics. So I like to think that my main sort of the information and the things I collect are usually due to history or anything to do with literature, as well as that. Politics, I like to try and stay in touch with, and I encourage all my students, because you never know. When you're of voting age, you could really turn the tide in terms of who's governing you and leading you. So the trouble with politics is the more I learn, the angrier I get, with some of the injustice that we've seen across the world. So that's probably the extent of my knowledge at this point, but always learning, and I think you are too.
So how things worked for you? How you made things go well?
Oh, how do I know when things are going well?
How you made things go well?
How I make things go well. Look, I think the trick is to know that you just can't. Some days things just go completely haywire, but I think it's having that philosophy that you can't control the things that you can't control, and it's how you react to them. So I guess, when good days come along, it's kind of like a nice wave or the tide, you roll with it, you go with happiness. And when things are rough, you just put it down to a bad day and you try and do your best to move past it all. How I know when things are going well, I guess, really is, when I've had a good day, when I've had a good day teaching, students have generally lessons have gone well. I come home to a nice quality family time. I get plenty of cuddles from my daughter, and I feel like my wife would probably echo the same thing. Usually we have very nice dinner and stuff like that. So I think the thing that can change a lot is my diabetes. Like, I can have lows and highs, but I try to make sure that I've got them maintained. Family life is generally pretty good. Like, it's very rare that we have fights or if we have anything that goes wrong. So that part of my life I feel very stable in terms of things going well. But I think still with writing and publishing, I'd still like to do more, and I'd love to get more of my titles out there. So how I know that's going well, with more book sales, I guess. But other than that, yeah, I think that's probably the best way to know when things are going well.
My next question is, what are your achievements as a English teacher and as a um, you have been in different jobs. So what are your achievements? What you achieved from them?
Sorry, what's my action after that, or?
No, achievement. What you have achieved.
Oh, achieved. Look, I guess in terms of accolades with teaching, it's more that I've had some students go on to get some top results in their HSE, so band 5 and 6s, and as well as that, I've done some HSE marking, which is also very good for my career, and I've received a couple of awards that they were running about being a teacher that's made an impact. But I guess my true accolades really are through the students and how well they're doing. Um, yeah, that's and obviously, you know, my degrees and things like that, but I'm not really. I don't see that as a true measure of success. I see, you know, the impact that you make on others, as you talk about, is probably more the accolades that we look for. With my book, it's won a couple of awards, so runner up in an ACE Awards and also Literary Titan. I got Book of the Month award. So, but I don't really chase awards too much. So I think for me, I just like to know that I'm making an impact.
So what is the response that you got for the book that you published?
It's been generally very positive. So out of a rating of 5 stars, it averages 4.75, which means that everyone's either a 4 or a 5, which is fantastic. It's not a perfect book. Being my first, it's still got some formatting errors. But apart from that, people have received it very positively. It's very positive reviews. A lot of them are saying that they just couldn't put it down, which is great. And some say it has some truly scary and horrifying scenes in it. And it's weird for me writing it because I wouldn't have imagined. It doesn't seem scary in my mind, but others, their imagination takes over. Yeah, so, but again, hoping for more. But yeah, it's been really received very well. And I've been given some positive encouragement to get the next one finished.
So tell me about the Australian culture.
Oh, the Australian culture. I don't think we've got enough time to really comprehend the Australian culture side, but a lot of it is about our spirit, our humour. Um, Sometimes it's a laid back way of life, but which worked really well in previous times, but um, as of late, it's been taken advantage of. And to live in Australia now, it's not as laid back as it used to be. It's quite full on, and we've developed into what some would say a nanny state. So, but it used to be very laid back. It's a multicultural country, and we embrace migrants from all over the world. Although, you know, it could do better, could do a lot better. Um, but yeah, to sum up the Australian culture is to say that we're very much we like our lifestyle. We like a laid back sort of lifestyle if we can, although work lives are getting more intense. Um, and very much that family and friends culture, usually going down, having a beer at the pub or if you can. It's also about acknowledging the past but embracing the future. It's not really it's not a hugely religious country anymore. I think Christianity is only about 20% now, whereas it used to be a lot more. I think people are looking more to science and technology as a way of guiding them instead of religion. What else? Um, we're resilient. We definitely know we're a resilient culture, and while we haven't had as big a struggle in lockdown. We've had to endure a lot of natural disasters, especially bushfires. It can be quite a hot country, so bushfires bring out not the worst in Australians, actually often the best, because a lot of them fight and help our neighbours and things like that. Um, yeah, it's really hard to sum up in a short amount of time, but that's hopefully given you some insight into the Australian culture.
So you said you have questions for me.
Oh yeah, look, I just wanted to get to know more about you. I feel so bad. I've spent so much time talking about myself when you're the one that's getting these ideas up and running. Yeah, where are you in India at the moment? What's life like at the moment for you?
I'm from South India, and my life is going very good with the work that I love. I'm doing. Actually I completed masters in software engineering and I completed. I did masters. I mean graduation in computer science and engineering. So that technology to understand technology, it's very important for me to understand the connectivity between human beings and the language, the English language. You're an English teacher, so people like you are teaching me how the languages, how good this
How to make those
communication medium.
connections.
Yeah.
Oh,
So,
good.
so if I can understand more about this communicating medium, I think I can create a device, or I can communicate with the computer, with the computer language. So I think the better I can be as a communicator with a human being, the better I can become a communicator with a machine, the computer. So that's what made me to do that.
Oh, fantastic. What motivated you to start the podcast?
Yeah. So there was a subject in my graduation called computer networks, which means how networks are connected, how networks are interconnected with each other, how computers are connected with each other, how information transfer is happening in between computers, how this cloud data centers, how this data management, information management, how this information technology, IT, is handled in the society and in the world, how uh, how this technical things are working, how the information transfer between devices, routers, or wireless networks, all this, how this information is passing from one country to other country, one place to other place, how uh, human made this possible. I just wanted to know that. So that's why I want, before understanding technology and the devices which are created by human beings, I just wanted to understand what human beings are, what they are doing, how they are making things possible, what they are doing in different countries, what in their experience, how their experiences, their contribution, the mental, physical, material energies are creating impact on this planet. So I just wanted to know by connecting them through the technology that we have, like Skype, WhatsApp, all other mediums. Just I wanted to try to know. It's a learning experience for me. At the same time, taking these experiences and putting in a platform, creating a YouTube channel and putting it in there. It's like just putting all those collection there, so that people can see how what Rob from Australia, from Sydney, what he's thinking, why he's thinking like that, why he took that decision, what made
Okay,
him to
cool.
take that. So all these experiences may change the way they are thinking. So in a positive way, I want to affect the world in a positive way. It should help people in improving themselves. So that's what I wanted to do. At the same time, it is a learning experience for me. It helps me in growing.
Oh, good. Yeah, no, I've seen you've had some very interesting guests. You've had like a retired colonel from the Air Force, and you've had a CEO of a large corporation as well. So thank you for giving me some opportunity to talk about myself as well. I hope that I've given you some um, enlightenment in terms of my world. Yeah, wonderful. I
Yeah,
think
yeah,
that's all the questions I have. Yeah. Any other ones, or we could end it there, I guess.
yeah. I asked all the questions that I have. So my last question is, what is, as an English teacher, you worked as an English teacher, you worked as a journalist, you saw many people, you saw a lot of incidents happening, you saw a lot of situations in your life. You worked in US. So as an observer, as a communicator, now as a writer. So now you become a writer. You're putting your thoughts out and you're putting your imagination out, making making people to connect with your writing in that medium. So like that, how you see my work on my YouTube channel, me talking with different country people and trying to connect with them. So what do you think I learned from it, and what do you think people who watch us my content will learn from this?
or what they might get out of it. Look, there's a lot of things. You've definitely hit a number of different notes there. Yeah, look, I hope that people receive a bit more insight into different parts of the world. I'm sorry I didn't really answer much about Australia, but it's probably I talked about myself far too much. So, yeah, look, I hope that they get to see different people from all walks of life. I know in Australia too, we're a very sporting culture, so we've just had some of the Olympians. My sister-in-law got back from the water polo team, and she had a great Olympics. And another family friend, so that was Keisha Gophers. Another family friend, Lauren Parker, got a silver medal in the Paralympics. So I think we're a very sporting country too, and so we take it with great pride. So I think it reflects our country too. We're tenacious, we're resilient, and we persevere. And I hope that people get hear the same thing from different parts of the world in your podcast as well. And good luck with it. I really hope that it continues to build.
So, if you send me your links, your web links, your book links, I'll put in the description of this video. People who find our video on YouTube can see the work that you're doing. And
Yeah, certainly. That'd be great. Yeah, I'd love it. Love to.
yeah.
So I'll send you, some of the book links, and I can also give you the WordPress site, my blog as well, if anyone's got any mental health issues or just want to know, or diabetic people as well. So that might help them as well.
So I hope your contribution helps a lot of people, and a lot of people get benefit because of your work. So, and at the same time, I want you to continue the work that you're doing.
Oh, will do, definitely. You too, Si. It looks like it's going really well for you.
Thank you, sir, for giving me opportunity to talk with you, and giving me opportunity to ask you some questions.
Oh, you too. Thank you. Sorry I waffled on a lot. I do like to talk.
So can I put this video on my YouTube channel with your
Yeah, go for
permission?
it, mate. All good.
And
Yeah,
also,
thank
can I?
you. And do you want me to send the links on Twitter, just on our Twitter message, or on Skype? What's it?
On Skype,
On
if you
Skype.
can send.
Okay,
So,
thanks, Si. That's great.
and also, can I put this audio and video clip on my uh, um, podcast, website, internet, social media, everywhere with your permission?
Yeah, of course. And can you send me the links too? And and I'll help. I'll try and gain you some followers and audience. I'll send it on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn.
Yeah, I'll definitely. Once I publish, I'll send you.
Okay, thank you, Si. That's great.
Yeah. So thank you,
All
sir.
right, mate. Thank you. I'll hang up so I can send you those links.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. Again.
All right, thanks for your time. Thank you, Si. Bye.